That's messed up.
Yeah, no, the one skit where the challenge of, hey, I'm finna go fight. You feel what I'm saying?
That's sick, man.
And
Because
they
those
got,
kids are scared. Those kids are scared. They're
yeah.
scared.
So
They're
we
scared.
we got Coach right here, right here. What's going on, Coach?
What's up, fellas?
Coach got the
What's going on, man?
big
What up, man?
Hey,
man.
one time for the eye. You already know I'm back.
Yeah.
You to the eye
Yes,
to the
sir.
eye. Hey, one time for the
Put
eye.
it out
What's
there.
going on?
Most deaf, Coach. Once again, we are
Yep.
tuned into Big Dreams, Coach's Corner. Coach Drew, we got Triple Black, aka Three the Hard Way, and we got our guest, Coach Delgado. Thank you, brother, for tuning in, coming on once again, blessing us with your presence. How's it going right now?
It's okay, man. It's awesome in a lot of ways. You know, it's still growth and development and understanding of big picture in a lot of other ways, but focusing on the positive and trusting that I know this, the guys that are the core of what we have and everything we've been working towards, they're working and we can count on those guys. There's some that have some pretty bad habits and reasons for X, Y, or Z that they're not showing up early mornings, whatever. There's a million reasons why you can miss something, but focusing on the cats that are doing it the right way, it's awesome. The few that aren't doing it the right way, they're unfortunately going to have to learn the hard way, I guess. We're going to move on without them.
Yeah. Hey, you know what we're gonna say about them? You guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough reality, man. It's tough.
Me and Johnson was talking before you got on about you taking a job in Immoaklee and understanding the program differential because you came from Riverdale and
Right.
then you jump over to a small town because Immoaklee is Immoaklee. They don't have any other
Right.
school in Immoaklee. So
Right.
it's more of a small niche community there. You feel then coming from Riverdale. Johnson had a great question. I'm gonna let you ask it, Johnson, because I don't want to steal the joke. I mean, steal the joy of this question. Go ahead.
Nah, I mean, let me put some context behind it. Is because, for instance, like where you're coming from, in Riverdale, no shots to Riverdale. They've had great athletes in the past, but you've never looked at them as football school. Like a winning season, two winning season, good winning season is going to buy you as a coach some equity, probably about 10 years. An undefeated
Sure.
season will probably bring you 10 years of equity. But a
Right.
Immoaklee, it's not like that. Because every day you walk in there, you're gonna see Edrin James, you're gonna see JC Jackson, you're gonna see say Dearness Johnson, you're gonna see all these guys that were in successful programs. You're gonna see state championships, you're gonna see a culture of winning. You know,
Sure.
two mediocre seasons is not gonna buy you that much time. People are gonna be talking. You feel me?
No
How is
question.
it as a coach? That pressure. That. I mean, hey, you could go 7-3 one year, and then next year, everybody say, "Hey, man, we haven't won a state championship. We haven't sniffed the state championship." How do
Yeah, I
you deal with
mean,
that pressure?
honestly, that's the reality of it. I mean, honestly, I'm used to that more than I am what I dealt with at Riverdale. At Riverdale, it was a deal where you're right. We did things the right way, and we fought hard to make football be relevant. And I think we did that while we were there to a certain extent, but it mattered more to me than it did to some others, maybe. And um, don't get it twisted. Like, I'm from where pressure is made. I don't think for a second that I'm not aware of what it means to show up and have to put in to put out results. I'm an Apopka boy. To me, Apopka and Immoaklee are very similar in terms of what it means to have a successful season. In my mind, always it's to be breathing rare air. We should be playing the week of Thanksgiving. We should be fighting to be in the third, fourth round of the playoffs every year. That's what I'm used to. And so, at Riverdale, it was a little different definition of what success looked like, but that wasn't my definition. Every year I went into it expecting to be great and expecting to compete at a really high level. At Immoaklee, I think the goals and the vision are more unified, more attainable in the sense that we all share the same things. Now, that being said, it ain't going to happen overnight. Some of the things that have to change aren't going to be changed overnight. The process and the work that has to be done, that stuff's all in place. But the lessons that have to be learned, and sometimes those hard lessons, they take time. So, I know for a fact that we'll go out there and maybe taste a little bit of success and be completely different than what we were in years past, and it won't be good enough for a lot of people because it's not going to be 2004 Immoaklee. It's not going to be 2012 Immoaklee. It's not going to be 2017 Immoaklee. I know that there's going to be people that gauge it based on that success, and I'm okay with that. At the end of the day, I'm of the type that we're gonna win championships by doing things the right way, by holding cats to really high standards and expecting them to achieve those standards, regardless of how talented we are. And it takes a special dynamic to get all the way to the state championship. It takes everything coming together. I just hope that the community, I hope that Immoaklee in general will join us rather than combat us. I hope they'll come alongside of us to make it happen rather than look at it from the outside saying, oh, well, they should be X, Y, and Z. Everybody does that. I think when Immoaklee decides to band together and work towards something, then everybody else will be put on notice.
Yeah, I mean the spirit. I think you're in a unique situation. The spirit is always going to be there because,
yes,
Immoaklee is somewhat is kind of like landlocked. You know what I'm saying? You got generations of, you might have a fourth generation player. His dad was, on the team in the 80s that won and stuff like that. So
yeah,
you're always going to have that, and I wouldn't want to be the family member. Everybody else, they had good seasons and stuff, and I got to be the loser. No.
Yeah, you gotta face that at Thanksgiving or at Christmas or at any reunion you go to, right? They're gonna be talking about, well, y'all ain't done nothing compared to what we did. Right. So I think that pressure is real within our families, absolutely, so and that's a good thing.
I want to ask you this, Coach. Right now, how is it? What are you doing to bridge that gap with the community to bring them to be a part of the program? Because I know, what I'm saying, how big, the community is to support the team, to have your back, you feel me, to have the team back. What are you doing? Because honestly, we have coaches that come onto this show and we just want to know, what I'm saying, to help other coaches down the line, what kind of things you're doing to build your program through the community.
Well, I think it starts with the kids, right? It starts with our players. I think our players genuinely know how much we care, how much work we're putting in, how much we're willing to do for each and every one of them. But then it goes beyond that to, community members and businessmen and women and people who genuinely care about the success of the program for the big picture, like getting these kids a better opportunity and all of those things. And I think we've tried to use social media as a platform to display some of the work we're putting in, to highlight some of the special things we're doing in the community. I show up to Chamber of Commerce meetings and Rotary Club meetings, and I'll be honest with you, like in the first 90 days of being on the job, I worked my tail off to get in touch with so many community members, so many past players, people that have a stake or a care in what's going on in Immoaklee, because I know that dynamic. I know that I'm an outsider coming in, and I want them to have access to me, knowing that our visions are in the same line. Like, we want the same things for Immoaklee. And if you were to pull up Immoaklee on my phone, you'd find over 150 contacts. and I've only been there since January. And so there's people that I've been in touch with on a one-on-one basis. There's community groups that I've spoken to in large capacities. And then there's a ton of small conversations that happen along the way that, at the end of the day, you know how it is. It's word of mouth. I think our players have to feel a certain way to go home and talk about us as coaches, talk about the state of the program. I expect to have a parent meeting at the start of the fall season here where I hope to have everybody in our program in attendance, every parent, every player, so they know where we are. And I'd invite community members to join as well. Because in a place like Immoaklee, like you said, everybody knows everybody. It's landlocked, and it's a deal where if somebody ain't doing right, or if somebody's not on the same page. And so we all have to kind of work together to do what's best for our kids. So, I think to answer your question fully, social media, bulletins, emails, one-on-one conversations, having an open forum, I guess an open practices, open, just basically welcoming alumni back. All of those things help to bridge the gap between where we are and where we're going. And I think everybody that's been able to see it from afar or up close has been thankful to get closer to it and see what's happening.
How's that?
Hey, you mentioned social media. Social media can be both a gift and a curse.
Yes.
With social media. Social media is much different than it was like even 5 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Let me bust it.
Yeah.
It's much different. It's much different.
Listen, it's different than 2 years ago. It's different than 2 minutes ago. It's changing all the time.
I know. But I'm just saying, you know what? One good game, a good editor, you can build Frankenstein, 5-star recruit overnight.
Yeah. And that's what I want to spill over to, because he's talking about the 5-star recruit. And us in Florida, we're not luxury to a lot of the things that the other state has. One is pay. The other one is the NIL deal right now. And understanding, as a coach, here comes something else to interfere with, just the game of football. How are you, helping these kids? Because you come from a small town, and a lot of kids play the sport to change their family. This is how they're trying to eat. What are the things that you're doing to help them put themselves in a situation for, NIL deals and situations like that? Or have you even thought about that stuff?
Right. No, I have actually. I think the first thing we do in regards to social media, because it is a double-edged sword. It's like, don't ever put anything on social media that you don't want your grandmama to see, or your mom, or somebody that your pastor.
Bust shots on that one, Johnson. You got to bust shots.
Right? Like, don't ever put anything on social media that puts you in a negative light. And you have to use it as a
form for good, not for bad. Like, it's not a place where you take shots at other people. It's not a place where you talk about what you're about to do, or even about what you've done. It's simply about just self-promotion and really just positivity. Like, if you're going to put something out there, it better be something that's in good light for you as an individual, for you as a person involved in your community, or for you as a person who is representing your program, right? And so that's number one with our players, is like understanding it's incredibly important, but it's one of those deals where you have to make sure you use it to your advantage. That's number one. And in terms of NIL deals, I expect for our guys to freaking be, the best individuals they can be first. And then obviously that's going to show up on the field, making them the best players. And that stuff, I truly believe that when you do things a certain way, it takes care of itself. I think when you are a certain caliber player, it starts with you being a certain caliber individual. It starts with you being a certain caliber student, a family member, a brother, a son. It starts with you being a certain caliber employee, a teammate. And then all of a sudden, all that stuff matriculates into the field, and people all of a sudden start to learn your name and realize, oh, wow, like this dude's really special. Let's not get it twisted. NIL deals aren't handed out to everybody. They're set up for those who are the elite. So we focus more on how do we make you as elite as a person, knowing that if you have talent and you're also a great human being, then you're going to be set up to be a cat who is celebrated, rewarded, right? You start to earn that favor, and then you get those deals. I mean, that's what we talk about, right? A good name is be more desired than great riches. Favor is better than silver and gold. You get an NIL deal, you better be understanding it's favor, it's grace. It is like just a blessing that you probably don't truly deserve. So you better just understand the big picture of it. And I hope that we in time, our players will know that because it's part of who they are.
Most definitely.
But coach, you're going to have, in the next couple of years, you're going to have to give that humble pie to a couple of these NIL, recipients or whatever. How do you do that though in this environment? Especially when they'll be like, "Oh, I got a NIL deal, whatever. I'm this and I'm that," and then coach tries to put me in my place, and then they're looking, "Oh man, you know what? I'm gonna go transfer to this school because I can get a bigger deal on this one." And they're telling me that my stuff don't smell and everything like that. I'm the greatest thing ever. Like, how do you even deal with that dynamic?
No, I think honestly, that's the beauty of Immoaklee, right? Like Immoaklee is unique in the sense that people don't want to leave Immoaklee, right? People don't want to, like, everybody expects for a kid who grows up in Immoaklee to represent Immoaklee. That's what I love so much about it, is the fact that our kids are committed. Now, that being said, I think that we obviously have to be able to put up. I mean, it's going to come down to winning, and it's going to come down to getting kids into college and having them earn opportunities. And I do believe that we'll have players who are talented enough, gifted enough, and good enough human beings to earn those NIL deals for big time colleges and universities to take and invest in those people. But I truly believe, like, the focus isn't on that. The focus isn't on that's an end goal, right? We got to focus on being in the weight room every day during the summer. We got to focus on being first one out the locker room, getting in work before practice starts. And then when it's time to hit the field running with everybody else, being a guy who's in the front of the line. We got to focus on those things. We got to focus on being better student athletes, because for a long time that's not been the case, and we're seeing the effects of that. So I feel like we can control the end game by focusing on the short term, focusing on the little things along the way. And yeah, I think the beauty of it is, honestly, for guys in Immoaklee, like, you look at everybody who's come out before where we are right now, those NIL deals didn't exist. This for us, for our kids to have that success, it's going to be a deal where we are promoting those just getting into college, because that's going to be a deal where it changes the futures of our families, financially. An NIL deal might be a short-term thing. Right. All it takes is one injury. But you talk about your education, you talk about the investment it goes into being a better person, and one day being a better husband, better father, better employee. Man, that's where the long-term game comes into play. That's where real lives are changed.
But it almost seems like schools are going to have to start employing like maybe a whole department or something like that to deal with this.
For real?
Because I can't imagine, like, as a coach, you have to not only have to get the coaching part. Now you got this whole social media thing. Now you have the NIL stuff. There's got to be some type, especially if you're a bigger school, you have a lot of good athletes. There's got to be that it can't be put on you.
To go back to you saying kids transferred and going other places, like, I felt like we didn't lose players when we were at Riverdale,
but we never got them, right? It was a deal where we never got our hands on them because they were in situations where they knew that they might get notoriety, or they might get they might get exposure going to other schools in that same area. I firmly believe that if they would have gone to Riverdale, under our program, they would have gotten the same exposure. They would have gotten the same notoriety. They would have gotten the same opportunities beyond
school. But for whatever reason, we weren't able to get them at Riverdale, right? And so we just showed up and played with what we got. At Immoaklee, those cats don't want to be anywhere else. And it's not convenient for their families to get them somewhere else. So I firmly believe we handle our business, we change the culture, we change the dynamic of our program, then everybody who comes through Immoaklee, you're talking about youth football, you're talking about kids growing up in their homes knowing the tradition and expecting to wear the red and white. It's a totally different expectation. So we got to deliver on it, right? We got to be able to show the proof of it, but it's not just going to be in NIL deals. And in my mind, you talk about signing a letter of intent and going off to college and getting out of Immoaklee and having an opportunity, not just to get there, but to be successful and be elite and then earn your degree and potentially play beyond that. That's where it's at,
This whole thing is crazy. I mean, people used to take pride of being like a 4-year starter for one school, school. I played since my freshman year, or the 5,000 or 4,000 yard club, or the 5,000. Do they even have that anymore? Do people even take pride in that stuff anymore, or is it just like, let me give you a couple good games and let me go on huddle so I can be a go to this camp, that camp?
No, I firmly believe that we are in a show me society, right? Like everything is, what have you done for me lately? So you better be working, be relevant. You better be on the front, on the cutting edge of what's happening, because otherwise somebody else will be. And then the lights seem brighter, the grass seems greener, and people start thinking.
But let's be honest. And I know you got to be politically correct, but I'm gonna bust some shots. I was like, what do I care if we're 1-9? If I could go on the summer and go to this camp and that camp and be the man, you know what I'm saying? I could be camp bully, like I could go all these combines and be like Mr. Camp. Like, why do I care of winning? Why should I even give a shit? I could go camp to camp and run, 4-4. Don't score any touchdowns in the regular season, but you know what? I got all these numbers, and I might get me a deal. What about that?
I think honestly, here's why you care. How many kids are getting recruited straight out of high school right now instead of the transfer portal, instead of the everything, instead of just being able to, like, the reality is simply this: we have to promote our program, and people know that if James Delgado is involved in the program, then things are going to be done a certain way. So the coaches that I speak with, the people who recruit Immoaklee, are going to say, not only are they having talent, now they have discipline. Now they have structure. Now they have expectations placed on them where they're not going to show up and they're going to be bad human beings. They're not going to be bad students. They're not going to be bad teammates. Because if they are, they would have never made it through the program at Immoaklee. That stuff matters. You go through a program where you're just elite and you're just the best, and maybe those underlying principles aren't in place, then you don't have the same trust factor, right? You talk about recruiters. Yeah, they're going to take you because you ran a 4.25 or a 4.3, right? Because you're just elite. But you're going to get there, you're going to be a headache. You're going to get there, you're not going to pan out. Those jokers don't have 4 years to change you. They need you to come in and produce right now.
Yeah.
And so that's where program comes into play. And for young people, they don't see that, right? It's important for their parents to understand it. It's important for the community to understand it, so that when a young person starts to doubt what they're doing and why they're doing it, they don't pick up and go and run just because of what's shiny and glimmering.
That part, because and I'm glad you said that, because that's going around a lot. Not just in high school, but in youth sports here in Southwest Florida, well, all around the country, not just here. But people are just leaving programs because this program has 5 uniforms, and it's like, when are we gonna sit up here and instill values into our kids with, there's gonna be some good years and there's gonna be some bad years. Because
Right.
I'm honest with you, when we were at Estero in high school, we were nobodies. You feel me? And
Yeah.
we didn't get the recognition till we left. Then
Right.
Estero, now, and it was the same thing with Naples. Naples, when
Yeah.
Clemson was there, Naples was nobody.
Right.
And Kramer came in and changed the
And
program.
changed all of that. That's right.
And that's the thing. Right now, you are. I want to know, and I'm gonna turn this up a little bit. I want to know what somebody that you got on that line, the beef that most impresses you. That you, because we got to start getting these big fellas some love.
You're talking about players?
Yes, all the time. Tell me somebody just stands out in your heart, just gives it all effort. I'm talking about that complete guy.
Yeah. I mean, I think we've got a couple of guys. We've got a couple of guys up front that we can count on that are going to make plays for us and do things in a certain way. I mean, a lot of people don't know this, but Isaac Martinez, who's going to be a junior for us, and he played last year as a sophomore, and he also was a part of the Big Dreams All-Star game a couple years ago. He almost was out of Immoaklee because his family picked up and moved to Texas right before spring football started. And it was a killer. Like, it was devastating for us because we count on him as a player, but also for what he brings as a person. And so thank God his family and he are back in Immoaklee. And so he wasn't with us in the spring. He had to come back in the summer and kind of work his way right back into the mix. Thank God that everything worked out with his family where it was just a short-term transition. But he's a guy that we count on up front. I think that there's a kid by the name of Wildy Lumius, who is Silvio Lumius's younger brother, who is going to be really good for us, also going to be a junior. There's a young man by the name of Aiden Soto that has a chance to be really special. And he's got a big frame and ability. And there's several others that we absolutely count on up front. But I think the beauty of what I'm impressed with our kids in Immoaklee is how much they care. Like, I'm telling you, we start morning workouts at 5:50 a.m. We have a mandatory meeting. Well, at 5 a.m., we're there opening up the locker rooms, turning on the lights on the field. And at 5 a.m., there's people on the field getting work. There's guys putting in time. And then afterwards, after we're done around 9 or 9:30, they're still there putting in work, doing what they have to do to try and be great. And so I firmly believe that we have a chance to do some special things with that type of work ethic. I think we have to do a better job of getting everyone in our program to share that vision, to share that expectation. Right now, we only have a couple, a handful, maybe a third or half, where we need everybody, because we can't afford to leave anybody behind. We need them all.
I mean, the thing about too, man, especially, what they say, an idle mind is the devil's playground,
Yeah.
especially in the summer,
Yes.
I mean, do you feel a little bit of pressure to be like, man, you know what, these, there's not a lot to do in Immoaklee, when there's not a lot to do, people started, dreaming up stuff that they shouldn't be doing. I mean, how hard is it, to deal with that whole thing? And, do you have to be kind of almost
hard? It's hard. And I've learned a couple lessons in the difference between here and Apopka or here in Riverdale. At the beginning of the summer, we took some time to try and get our guys to exposure camps and give them some time where school ended and we were off. And it was a deal where I expected for those guys to be able to, like, we opened up the weight room and there was optional workouts, but we had some guys that were on the road for recruiting exposure trips. And we had some guys who were starting summer school. And so we gave them time to kind of get in a groove and go knock out all those summer school classes, like do all the work you can without the pressure of summer workouts. So we took that first week off. And in doing so, there were a couple kids that I firmly believe got caught up or got started in poor habits that we haven't recovered from, you know? And so next summer, that'll be entirely different, I can assure you. That being said, I feel like we have an opportunity to build on that. You know, I think, you know, we putting in the work we do 4 days, 5 days a week, and then opening opportunities for them to do even more work is going to be something that pays major dividends, but nobody's going to see that right away. It's going to take time. You know, it's the work we're putting in right now. I expect to show up in November, and you can't hide from that. I truly believe that ball finds you, right? Like you can't hide from those who have done the work. You maybe can a couple of times. You can out talent somebody. You can out physical somebody, but at some point, ball doesn't lie, and the truth comes out.
Hey, Drew, I'm gonna leave you out of this, you know, because you still got a season. Drew is not a coach, but you know, I went to high school like 20, was it almost 25? I mean, 20 some years ago, whatever.
Why are we talking about y'all?
But anyways, is it too much though? Because I mean, it used to be 2-a-days. That's all we were waiting in the summer. Now you got fashion shows at these different universities where you have all these kids. Man, I'm like, bruh, you're not even in high school yet. Why the hell are you visiting Notre Dame and Florida State and putting all this stuff on?
Yeah.
You and your mom, like, come on, what is going on out here?
You're not wrong. And you know what's sad is
what is going on?
There ain't nothing that you or I or Drew or anybody can say about it that's going to change it. The world, I'm telling you, man, it's like either you embrace it and you learn that let's make the best of the situation. I'm going to take our kids to the biggest exposure camps that I possibly can, get them in front of 40 and 50 different colleges, rather than just taking them to a 1-day, you know, underclassmen exposure camp at a one school. Like, I'm going to try and get them in front of as many people as we can and let them know, like, if you're going to take a trip, this is the type of trip you need to take. This is how you need to do it. And let's get you in front of as many people as possible. You represent Immoaklee, you represent yourself, you go out there and you show out. But I'm telling you, man, the world is changing.
It in general. I've never ever seen so many like fashion shows, like, you know, players that you know that's never ever going to even be around that school at all, like acting like they're actually going to go there. They're actually going to talk to the damn coach. Like Nick Saban, like
they're being inspired. So, Coach, man, I really, really appreciate you. I know you're out of time, and I don't want to sit up and hold your time too much because we're gonna be having you during this season.
We're gonna talk about all this.
Yeah, we're gonna be week in, week out, man, because we got some special stuff cooking up with the coaches here in Southwest Florida. Enjoy yourself, Coach, man. Once again, thank you again for tuning in to Big Dream Coach's Corner. Triple B.
Yeah, man. Y'all make sure y'all hit that Cash App, man. Big Dreams TV down there, man. You know what I'm saying? We need to get some more cameras. We need to get some more mics. You know what I'm saying? We need to get some McDonald's for all the kids. You know what I'm talking
about? Yeah. The kids. Like Coach Delgado do. It's a family. If we want one eat, y'all eat, baby.
Yeah, right, no doubt.
Appreciate you, baby.
Hey, appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all. We'll talk soon.
Yes, sir. Love.
All right, later. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah, man.